That everyone remains seated in their seats during the entire tour. Keep your heads, hands, feet, and any body parts I haven't thought of yet inside the train at all times. That includes your children, your cameras, your cell phones, and electronics. Moves them in the woods, in the river, or if some animal finds them delicious, you'll never see them again, so careful of your belongings. We're crossing over the Bronx River right now at 23 miles long. It's the only freshwater river that runs in New York City. A habitat for turtles, fish, frogs, migrating birds, a beaver named Jose,
well, something there.
Beaver. Coming into our first paddock, you can see our peafowl, India's national bird, the peacocks and peahens. Those long, beautiful feathers on the peacock are actually back feathers, not tail feathers. Look at the back of this peacock and you can see the tail feathers holding the back feathers up when it displays. Normally, those long feathers are lost at the end of mating season. They grow back again the following year. But when they do lose all of those feathers, that's when we have to start looking all over the zoo for pea chicks. Normally here we would see the axis deer, but they went over the hill on the left-hand side. They have their nerve. We'll catch up to them in about 10 minutes on the other side ourselves, so we won't be missing them on our tour. But at this point, we're coming up on a pair of shacks, and they're here to help tell us a story of conservation about the Barasingha deer.
In 1970, there were estimated to be only 66 of the Barasingha deer remaining in central India. But this population was saved by the cooperation of the local Indian community. Like the shacks you see here, there were many small farms using space in and around India's Kanha National Park. These people were coming into contact with the deer and the tigers that were also living there. Through cooperation with the Indian government, local communities agreed to relocate their villages. By moving, the farmers still had land to farm, but the tigers and their prey got more room to roam.
Now, we all know that a species that is extinct no longer exists like the dinosaurs or the dodo. I mean, if that wasn't true, then this would be Jurassic Park and not the Bronx Zoo. But the Bronx Zoo it is, and we're going to take a look at a species of horse that neared extinction but made quite a comeback, and that's the Mongolian wild horse. They're known for their short, squat appearance and their erect mane, which I'm sure Mr. T would approve of wholeheartedly. They're the last of the wild horse species. All other species of horses have been fully domesticated in the world in one way or another.
Mongolian.
There are genetic differences between these horses and domestic horses, and their numbers are being replaced in areas of China and Mongolia, with herds being corroborated by North American and Asian zoos. Once again, as already announced, everyone stay in your seats, please. Not standing. Thank you. These horses do have quite a bit of history behind them as well. I've got some of that history right here.
The first accounts of Mongolian wild horses come from rock engravings, paintings, and even cave drawings that date back more than 20,000 years. And the first written accounts were from Tibet, sometime around 900 AD. But these horses remained largely unknown and unnamed to the Western world for many years. During an expedition to Central Asia in 1879, a famous Russian explorer and naturalist, Colonel Nikolai Przhevalsky, encountered the horse in western Mongolia. Because of his discovery, this species is also known as Przhevalsky's horse.
The captive breeding of Mongolian wild horses started back in 1901, and 28 animals were delivered to the United States. The zoo received their horses in 1902, and we've maintained our herds since way back then. Although our researchers may have trouble from time to time trying to find the animals they wish to research in the wild, I'm here to help you today by pointing out the animals even if they're not in plain sight. If you want to look for animals yourself, though, it's not that hard a thing to do. Just put yourself in their hooves. I mean, where would you go if you wanted a place to rest, a place in the shade, or somewhere to graze? Oh, and just one hint, though. If you are looking for somewhere to graze, please don't eat the grass. Now, here in our next paddock, we're going to be on the lookout for two endangered species. That's going to be the brow-antlered deer and the gaur. The brow-antlered deer are known for the antlers on the males that look like they have huge eyebrows coming out of the tops of their heads. They were suffering from a lack of wild land and a lack of wild diet because of farming in their native Cambodia. so much farming that they were starving for lack of a wild diet. But it was the species survival plan in North American zoos that helped them to survive. Now, we may not be getting to see them just yet, but look up at the back, just at the tree line there, next to the back fence, we have the gaur, the largest wild cattle in the world. Males stand at 2,000 pounds, 6 feet per shoulder, 10 feet long, and with their huge horns, they can take on a tiger. The alpha male is named Eddie Gower, and when their horns are straight up at the tip, it's a male, curved inward, it's a female. They suffered from a lack of wild lands and the diseases they can catch from domestic cattle, and the species survival plan helped them as well. To their right, though, by the down logs, you can see some of the brow antler deer with more up on the right, and it looks like it's ladies' day out because I don't see any antlers in the crowd. With both animals saved by the plan, here's some information about it.
Here at the zoo, we help gaur and brow antler deer and many other species by participating in cooperative zoo management programs called species survival plans. The name says it all. The plans aim to help these animals survive. Zoos across the country work together to maintain genetically diverse populations of rare and endangered species.
As we make this next turn now, remain in your seats. We're going to be on the lookout for a tiger. Tigers are solitary animals. They live alone in the wild. That's why you'll only see one tiger in this exhibit. We don't want them fighting each other over territory. It's a Malayan tiger, smaller and darker in color than our Siberian tigers. Her name is Savita. She's 10 years old, 200 pounds, and with her natural camouflage and all this greenery, look very carefully, because she could be missed. Tigers hunt a variety of animals, but they prefer pig and deer. They'll eat about 40 pounds of meat in one sitting, the equivalent of 160 hamburgers. After a meal like that, they usually won't eat again for several days. I can only do about 30 burgers myself. How about you? Stripes on the tiger's back are like fingerprints to you and me. And when we take a look at their back from the jungle canopy, we take a picture and look at our records so we can see exactly who we're looking at. 3,000 tigers left in the world in the wild. Out of that, there's only 1,000 breeding females. A program was started 5 years ago, ending 5 years from now. That's to increase the wild tiger population by 50%. Check off to our right past the trees here. There she is taking a nap. She's coming up shortly. I'm just slowing down a little bit. I want everybody to get a view. There she is laying down. A tiger can sleep for up to 18 hours a day, and they only hunt for 4.
Right there. See it? Right there.
And in our next paddock, look up to your right, you'll see some of the gaur standing there. A little closer view this time. Now after this hill, we're going to get another view of the peafowl, India's national bird, the peacocks at the end. And we're going to catch up with that deer we missed in the first paddock. Here we have the spotted axis deer that keep their spots all their lives. Baby deer are born with spots, but they stay away as they get older. They go away. And that doesn't happen to the axis deer. They keep their spots.
Oh, look.
In the meantime, though, we pass the peafowl once again, India's national bird. You know, the monorail itself runs on 2.5 miles of track, covering 40 acres of land. And there's a road right ahead of us here that is used by our keepers. It's used to help us take care of the animals and exhibits here at the zoo. The roads cover the entire zoo in 265 acres. That's why they call this one of the largest urban zoos. How many Tarzan movies have you heard that? On our next turn now, we're coming to a bamboo thicket. Now imagine a pig with tusks that come up to its snout and point backwards through its eyes. That's called a babirusa, which means pig deer in the Malay language. They use their tusks to intimidate males and attract females. The female Wendy is here in the first paddock, but unfortunately she's underneath the train.